I started making a presentation on this. I started making a PowerPoint presentation with slides and things. And then I kind of gave up halfway through because I thought it's best to just talk about this. I talk, you look at me, and it works that way. I spent all my time making stuff that goes onto a screen. Films have been made for the last 100 years, more than 100 years, okay? And all of us, I don't think there's anybody, not only in this house, but anybody anywhere in this country who has not seen a film, who's not exposed to film in some form, television, cinema, inside smaller cinemas. So I think film is something that's very fundamental to us as a culture, as an Indian culture, as well as all over the world. So films have been made for a long, long time, for about 100 years, plus 100 plus years. But throughout the history of cinema, right, since the 1900s through British India, through independent India, up to the 90s, making a film and showing it to people has been available to just a few people, a few privileged people. The reason being that there was, of course, a certain community that was filmmakers. But apart from that, there was a certain cost and complexity of making a film, which made it impossible for any average person to make a film. This changed a lot in just the last 5 years, 5 to 10 years. And we've come to a point where the tools of filmmaking are accessible for everybody and anybody. Right now, what I'm speaking, what the speaker before me spoke, and the speakers after me will speak, is being shot with 3 cameras, 3 little cameras, which combined cost less than the cost of film that goes into just one reel in theatrical film. Okay, that is the revolution that has changed things. And this revolution has happened just since 2000. Before that, to give you a sense of what a film involved, and this means a film that was seen in a theater, a film which had actors, or a documentary film which was probably shown on television, Doordarshan or channel. You had to have a movie camera. You had to have reels of film. Each reel of film costed more than 10,000 rupees and lasted just 4 minutes. 10,000 rupees for 4 minutes of film. And to film even a 20-minute documentary, you would have to shoot at least about 70, 80, 100 minutes of film. So you required that many tens of thousands just to buy the film. Each roll of film had to be carefully handled, had to be kept in right temperatures, transported correctly, sent to a lab. After it was processed in the lab, you had to go to a specialized place to do any further work on the film. Sound was recorded on very specialized machines, separate from the picture. All this process was done in labs. It was done in editing studios, done in post-production houses. And all of this costed a fortune. Even small documentary films required to do all these things. And even big multi-star films had to do all these things. This changed rapidly in the year 2000 or thereabouts when the first DV cameras were introduced. DV cameras allowed you to shoot on very small little DV tapes, which costed about 200, 300 rupees each. And this allowed a lot of common people to pick up a camera, put in a tape, go out anywhere and shoot. They could make a film on a certain social subject. They could make a film with actors. They could make a small little period drama. They could do anything. But of course, it was not as great a quality as the films that were shown in theaters. So we still had 2 levels. We had one set of people, the royalty, which could afford big screen releases, could afford big screen films. And there was a set of independent filmmakers who had to compromise on quality. Now, somewhere around the mid-2000s, this changed again. When cameras got better and better, high-definition cameras were available. Now, for the first time in the history of cinema, the common man, for a very, very small price, it's not like an extremely tiny price, but at least the price which was realistic, a price of under a lakh rupees, you could afford a very high-quality image-creating device, a high-quality HD camera, a camera that did not have to use costly film to record images, a camera that did not have to use separate devices to record sound, a camera that recorded everything together. This changed a lot into 2000, 2003, 2004. But still, there were feature films and there were non-feature films. Then came video hosting devices, video hosting systems like YouTube and Vimeo. These platforms, for the first time, gave an average person the ability to create something and put it out there to be seen by anybody in the world at any time. That became a big game changer. Until that time, the biggest hurdle for filmmaking was how to show it to people. Not everybody can afford to rent a theater. Not everybody can afford or has the means to send his films onto television in any channel. There are 250 channels we have, but the common man cannot go into the channels. There's a big wall out there. You cannot go and show your film on even ZTV, Star TV, whatever. There's a big wall. But that broke when you had video hosting devices, when films could be uploaded to this large pool of data called the internet, which anyone could access. Then somewhere in 2007 came a whole new device, the smartphone. The smartphone gave people the ability to have a really good quality camera in their hands, in their pockets all the time. This device could not just shoot high quality video, could also send the video instantaneously to anybody and everybody in the world. From 2007 till now, all these devices have been evolving. We first had very low quality cameras in phones, then we had high definition cameras in phones. Now we have 4K cameras in phones. In between there was something called 3D which came and kind of went away somewhere. But these devices all helped us create presentations that could go anywhere in the world. Now, while all this was happening, there's one fundamental thing that we need to know. All of us shoot videos. All of us shoot videos with our little phone cameras. Some of us have got specific cameras and we can shoot with those. Some of us buy DSLRs thinking that, okay, since Stanley Ka Dabba was made out of Canon 5D, I buy a 5D, I can make Stanley Ka Dabba. Okay, it doesn't work quite like that. And most people realize that after buying the camera. And after shooting a little bit, the camera comes out of the bag a couple of times, it goes back in the bag, and then it's kept in the cupboard, and then it's just there. Okay, that's because a fundamental part of filmmaking, completing a film in a form that people can see, is the process of post-production. Okay, after filming a film, after having the actors do everything, there's a whole process of post-production. And fundamental to the process of post-production is the process of editing a film. Editing is that activity which is probably the only part of cinema which was born out of cinema. Okay? There were lots of parts of cinema which existed before cinema. For instance, script writing existed for centuries before cinema. People wrote novels, people wrote books. Theatre existed for, again, centuries before cinema. Theatre, dance, performing arts existed before cinema. So those were also, they imbibed into cinema. Sound recording existed, and cinematography came out of photography. But editing, that is the act of putting together disparate visuals in a way that the viewer gets to see what he wants to see, when he wants to see, and for how long he wants to see. That is editing. And that came out of cinema. And that has currently become the biggest hurdle for most people who shoot video. Okay? In the 90s, when we set up an editing or a post-production system, it used to cost us, I set up an editing system for a friend of mine in 1996, which costed about 25 lakh rupees. Today, I could have a system with exactly those capabilities in a laptop for less than 80,000 rupees. Okay, 96, 2015, in 20 years, that much has changed. So, what are the things that you require to make a film, to finish a film, and to show it to people? So I'll just briefly go over this. What are the available options that exist today? Almost every mobile phone has a camera. Okay, so and most mobile phones have a full HD camera, which means it is very high resolution. I don't want to go into the numbers, but it's good enough resolution that even if you play it on your TV set, on a 46-inch TV set at home, you still see a very clean, sharp image. But that camera has certain limitations. You know, you cannot, if I were to shoot from here, I would get a certain field of view. If I want a close-up of somebody, I'd have to physically go close to that somebody. So you need a slightly better camera with some kind of a zoom lens, with something that allows you to get closer to people without actually going closer to people, which allows you to shoot with some amount of control over the picture parameters. This kind of a camera today, I just recently bought one for about 80,000 rupees. So that's your starting point. Between 50 to 80,000 rupees, you can get a really, really good camera. Even a small pocket camera that fits on your belt, which has a reasonable amount of a zoom lens, cost in that range. Then you need just a bunch of memory cards. A 32 GB card is probably less than 2,000 rupees, so you need 3 or 4 of those. You need spare batteries. So that takes up the whole thing to a little, maybe 10,000 rupees more. And now you have all the means to shoot films. Now what you have in your hand is a device with a resolution, with the capability, and with the exact same picture quality that was possible by very high-end productions in the 90s. Okay? Because film has not really evolved since the 90s till now. But video has gotten better and better. So you have the means to shoot that. To be able to then post-produce that, to be able to put titles in it, to be able to edit it together, to compact it properly, to add music, to put some voiceover, dialogue, you can do it on any average, reasonably above average laptop computer. It could be an Apple Mac computer, it could be a PC, but don't expect a very, very basic 10, 20,000 rupee computer to be able to do all those things. You need something much better than that. You need something in the range of about 1 lakh rupees, including the software, because software costs money. Unlike what most people in India seem to do, software does cost money. So that's another lakh rupees. So within about 2.5, 3 lakh rupees, depending on your expectations, you have the means to shoot a film that looks exactly as good as any commercial film you can see in the theater. These are just the tools, okay? Then the skills that require to do that. The skills that are required to create film, that everyone can be a filmmaker, are skills that have not changed for the last 100 years. You need good composition, you need to shoot a film, you need good sound for sound recording, you need reasonably good acting, although some of the movies today make you believe the otherwise. You need a reasonably good story. Story is still very, very important. And that again, the success or not success of many of the films the last couple of weeks, some of the films which I've had to work on, have shown you that you need a story. Okay? There are many films I work on, which I won't name, which through the course of the film itself, when I read the script, when I stand on set, when I see people doing it, I kind of feel that, oh man, this is such a waste of time. But I get paid for it, so I'm not complaining. But so you need a good story, you need reasonably good visual taking abilities, and then you need some serious amount of processing work to make it all look seamless and nice. If you don't have the skills to do all these things, you obviously need to hire skills to do all these things. Filmmaking is a one-man job as long as that one man or one woman has all these abilities. And if not, then you need to find good friends who can put all this together into a good composition. Even after doing that, up until a couple of years ago, it was impossible to have this seen by anybody. Until we had things like Vimeo, we have YouTube, we have iTunes, we have Hulu, we have lots of methods with which you can show your film. And these do not require to have any contacts. You don't need to know anybody in the film industry. You just need to make an account, upload the film, and take your chances. If you can make something which has value for people, if you make something that a lot of people want to watch for whatever reason, it can mean a lot of money. Okay? Now this is not a promise of a gold mine or something. Very few films have actually become that huge that they made a lot of money. One of the most, The most recent example was the Gangnam Style video. That video was made by some guy in a basement who made a song. He shot some really pithy visuals with the Korean girls dancing in a parking lot. But something about that captured the imagination of people, and it became viral. It means a lot of people saw it. It means a lot of people told people who saw it, and another lot of people saw it. And eventually he's crossed probably a few 100 million. But those kind of stories are few and far between. It's still very, very hard to make a lot of money on just online distribution. But it's not impossible. And if you keep hitting at it, this is the long-term thing. If you think that you can keep doing that and making reasonably good videos from time to time, over a period of 10 years, this can become an occupation. It's a long-term commitment. It happens. There are many YouTube channels. Channels means a collection of individuals getting together, making films. Like there's the Viral Fever, there is AIB, lots of things. They are hitting at it, but this is a long-term commitment. They will eventually start making as much money per capita as much as the TV channel will make. Okay, they will eventually get there. We're not there yet because we are stuck with low bandwidth connections in this country. But once we cross that hurdle, we will get there. So, to sum up, the tools are there. The skills have to be acquired, learned, or hired, and the means to show it to people are also there. Okay, so everyone can become a filmmaker.